lot of Nigerians as we get closer to the inauguration on May 29th is, in fact, if this, I won't say it's a new injunction, because, you know, the PDP and Labour Party are, of course, in court waiting for this tribunal, this petitions to start to figure out whether, in fact, you know, any of their candidates, presidential candidates, would in fact maybe emerge, depending on what the court decides, would the outcome of this, whether the inauguration is going to go ahead or even this injunction. But I'm hearing now that Professor Chris Wacobia is waiting for us. If you can hear me, Professor Wacobia, okay, yes, there you are. So let's go straight into it. Now, we're having the plaintiffs asking for a declaration extension of President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, pending when a successor is determined in accordance with the Constitution. Now, this is because of this 25% securing of votes that has been the bone of contention regarding the results of the general elections, 2023 general elections that had the results have the president-elect Bola Tinubu as winner. What are your thoughts on this regarding this particular matter that is now pending in court?
Shay, good morning. Good morning, Steve. Good morning. It's my pleasure to be on with you. Interestingly, as we discuss our country and our politics today, fundamentally, we're looking at how we make our democracy responsible and responsive to the people. We're looking at how we abide by the intentions, the intendment, and the rationale behind the draftsman's position on Section 134, 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, and, as it were, the provisions of Section 135, 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999. But let me say clearly, and with every sense of commitment, that those who are saying that the time to make our democracy effective, efficient, and effectual are the ones who are right here. You asked, Shay, if the tenure of Mr. President can be extended to allow for the adjudication, for the litigation, for the matters in court to be fully determined. And the answer is, it is not about extension. It is about what the Constitution envisages. And I hope that the Honorable Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Minister of Justice are listening. I hope that the DG, DSS is listening. I hope that our esteemed jurist and Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is listening, because this is very important. We're at that point in our democracy when we must do things properly. We must work within the precincts of what is right, proper, and right. And I say without any sense of equivocation that it is not about calling for an extension. It is about a position envisaged by law, that we may at some point in our historicity, at some point in our nationhood, get to this situation where we must look at the Constitution for direction. And so nobody's saying extend the tenure. The Constitution says that the tenure of a president, the sitting president, can continue until such a time when a new president takes an oath of office and is subject simply to the situations envisaged by the Constitution. We must effectively determine who becomes the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Section 134 2B clearly states, without equivocation, that the man who must sit as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must win 25% of the votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory. Must is a word. Because if you look at the Constitution, you see that it clearly says that you will win 2/3 of the states, including 25% of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And what does it envisage? Look at the law. Look at the intention of the draftsman. Across the nation, you're expected as a governor to win 2/3 of the local government, 25% of 2/3 of the local government in the state. And The reason is because the draftsman envisages that a man who must be governor must be popular, must have a wide spread, must have an acceptability of sorts within the state. And then who superintends over Nigeria from Abuja, who is indeed constitutionally the governor, if you like, of Abuja, is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Abuja runs as an exceptional territory. He does superintend over Abuja through the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and the Abuja Development Agency, that's Federal Capital Development Agencies. What does he do? The president who must superintend over Abuja must be deemed to be popular, must be deemed to have won 25% of the votes in Abuja. So the matter in court, essentially, for which we are going to be at the Federal High Court in Abuja, May tomorrow, is simply saying that you should not swear in a man as president until the court determines his status as president-elect or president-select. Mark my use of words, and I'm saying this without equivocation. Now, if the law says that he must win 25% of Abuja, do the citizens, indigents, residents of Abuja who voted have the right to ask that the man who must superintend over Nigeria from Abuja wins 25% of the votes cast in Abuja? The answer is a capital letter yes. So the argument is before the judge to determine whether he can ask for an extension of the swearing of the president until this matter is determined. And the answer is capital letter yes. I'll read to you Section 135 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 135, sub 1 says, without doubt, Steve, listen. It says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, a person shall hold the office of president until when the successor in office takes the oath of office.
What section? What section is that?
B says.
Professor Wakubia, what section of the Constitution is that?
Section 135(1).
Okay. All right. Go on.
Section 135(1) of the 1990. And then subsection 1B says he dies whilst holding such office, or subsections 135(1) says the date when the resignation from office. And then sub D says he otherwise ceases to hold office in accordance with the provisions of the law, impeachments and all that. Now, what so many people hold as sacrosanct is sub 2, section 135(2) of the 1999 Constitution, which says that subject to the provision of subsection 1 of this Constitution, the President shall vacate his office at the expiration of a period of 4 years, commencing from the date when. Now, you look at the subsections, you understand. Now, subsection 1 holds superintendence, holds preeminence over subsection 2. And what are we saying? That we must determine whether the man who is president-select has truly won the presidency as explicitly stated by the Constitution. And the answer is a capital letter no. Mark my choice of words, Steve, mark my choice of words, say, when we talk about our democracy, democracy must be predicated on the rule of law. Democracy is not wistfulness or wishfulness. Democracy is about rule of law. It's about situating governance on the will of the people expressed through the electoral system. And on the February 25th, Nigerians went out to vote. Albeit Nicodemously, on the 1st of March at 4 a.m., a certain individual was declared president-select. my choice of word advisedly, and I'm ready to face anything for it. So he was declared. Did he meet the provisions of the Electoral Act? Did he meet the provisions of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, sections 134, 2B, and sections 135? The answer is no. And so what must we do? Are we going to go ahead on the May 29th to swear in a president who didn't meet the constitutional provisions? These were the arguments of Dr. Babar Ahmed when he clearly stated that any attempt to swear in the president-elect on the 29th of May will be dealing a murderous blow on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and by extension, dealing a fatal blow on democracy. And I say here,
all right,
with a sense of responsibility,
Prof. Wakobia, sorry to
that the reason we're in court, Steve, let me chisel this in, please, Steve.
Okay, all right.
The reason we're in court is to ensure that we help our democracy. The reason we're in court is to ensure that the justices help us to protect our democracy and ensure that those who live in Abuja are protected not only by the Constitution, but by the judicial process.
All right. I mean, that's fine. But let's stay with the facts. And the facts of the matter is that there is a president-elect for Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was duly declared the winner by INEC after that election. Yes.
Albeit against the law. Albeit against the law.
No, I do not know of the law that it was against, but you have done the needful as a member of the UB Dati presidential campaign to go to court, the same way that the PDP presidential candidate and the party, which came